The SAR stands for specific absorption rate. It is the measure of the rate at which energy is absorbed by the human body when exposed to a radio frequency, RF, electromagnetic field. Although, it can also refer to absorption of other forms of energy by tissue, including ultrasound. It is defined as the power absorbed per mass of tissue and has units of watts per kilogram, W/kg. SAR is usually averaged either over the whole body, or over a small sample volume, typically 1 gram or 10 grams of tissue. The value cited is then the maximum level measured in the body part studied over the stated volume or mass. SAR measures exposure to fields between 100 kHz and 10 GHz, known as radio waves. It is commonly used to measure power absorbed from mobile phones and during MRI scans. The value will depend heavily on the geometry of the part of the body that is exposed to the RF energy, and on the exact location and geometry of the RF source. Thus tests must be made with each specific source, such as a mobile phone model, and at the intended position of use. When measuring the SAR due to a mobile phone, the phone is placed against a representation of a human head, a SAR phantom, in a talk position. The SAR value is then measured at the location that has the highest absorption rate in the entire head, which in the case of a mobile phone is often as close to the phone's antenna as possible. Measurements are made for different positions on both sides of the head and at different frequencies representing the frequency bands at which the device can transmit. Depending on the size and capabilities of the phone, additional testing may also be required to represent usage of the device while placed close to the user's body and/or extremities. Various governments have defined maximum SAR levels for RF energy emitted by mobile devices. United States, the FCC requires that phones sold have a SAR level at or below 1.6 watts per kilogram, W/kg, taken over the volume containing a mass of 1 gram of tissue that is absorbing the most signal. European Union, SAR specifies SAR limits within the EU, following IEC standards. For mobile phones, and other such handheld devices, the SAR limit is 2 W/kg averaged over the 10 grams of tissue absorbing the most signal, IEC 62209-1. India switched from the EU limits to the US limits for mobile handsets in 2012. Unlike the US, India will not rely solely on SAR measurements provided by manufacturers. Random compliance tests are done by a government-run telecommunication engineering center (TEC) SAR laboratory on handsets and 10% of towers. All handsets must have a hands-free mode. SAR values are heavily dependent on the size of the averaging volume. Without information about the averaging volume used, comparisons between different measurements cannot be made. Thus, the European 10-gram ratings should be compared among themselves, and the American 1-gram ratings should only be compared among themselves. To check SAR on your mobile phone, review the documentation providing with the phone. Dial number 07# only works on some models, or visit the manufacturer's website.